You know what's a cool factoid? Just a mere 20 light years from our sun and where I'm currently sitting and you are, give or take a couple inches, there's a star called 82 Eradni. And around 82 Eradni is a rocky planet in the habitable zone. The habitable zone around a star is where liquid water could possibly exist. Now, we have three in our solar system. One's Mars and one's Venus. And, you know, but don't drink water on Venus, because anytime you go south of the border in the solar system, don't do it. Because the entire surface of that planet's covered in a supercritical ocean of sulfuric acid. Don't do it. But anyway, it's cool. 20 light years. That's just like a little space jump, to a place where there is a sun that is only 400 degrees Kelvin hotter, meaning that your eyeballs would barely be able to tell the difference between the color of the sun. And unlike most of the red dwarfs out there that have planets in the habitable zone, this thing's far enough away not to get completely bombarded by X-ray radiation and just fry anything that could potentially live there. And all of those red dwarf exoplanets, to be in the habitable zone, the planet would never have night or day. It would be just stuck there in a gravitational lock like the moon does. And it would just really, really suck to live there because it would be sunset all the time. And you could only really live in a place called the Terminator, which is a spiral band around the area. So only like a small portion would be, and the other half would be like terrifying desert with a permanent sandstorm, and the other side would be a blizzard with a sandstorm. So 20 light years away, just a little skimpy space fart from Shatabia, there is a rocky planet, has the ability to have liquid water on it, has a day and night cycle, and it's around a sun that is pretty damn close to ours. Yep. So big fucking shit. What are we gonna do with it? Is that where we're gonna send the plastic monstrosity in the Pacific Ocean? Here's what I think makes it cool. Put your fucking foil hats on, kiddos. In the late 1960s, a couple saw a thing in the sky. And they're like, what the fuck is that? And then it left. And they looked at their watches. And then it was like 5 hours later. And for 2 years, they didn't fucking tell nobody about it. But then they started having really weird nightmares. And they started having all these anxiety problems. And this was hospitals back in the 60s. So, they're like, we'll just go to hypnotherapy about it. Under hypnosis, they were told to retell the stories. And the stories were so frightening that the hypnotherapist would legitimately make them forget the story when they were conscious because it was so traumatizing to them that he frequently had to stop them early. There were a lot of details. It was a very slow-moving process to get the story out of what was going on. But the thing that was really remarkable is that Betty and Barney Hill, an interracial couple, just, to make it a little bit more wholesome of a story in the 1960s, their stories matched up until the point where they were separated and then continued to be the same when they were brought back together. But, Barney Hill, he said he kept his eyes closed most of the time because he was absolutely terrified, and that's a underlying theme in alien abductions is fucking scary. I mean, getting abducted by people is scary. Shit. That's actually like the best plot for like the next Liam Neeson movie, Taken 4. It's like, I've got a very unique set of lightsabers. So anyway, car gets pulled over. They see some things. Some shit happens. They freak out. It all happens so fast. So they start getting drugged with the same amount of beings. They get compelled to move there or something. Barney, being a black man in the 1960s, probably like, shit, fuck, these are space cops. Like, I'm being detained against my will, like, not only by my own government for no fucking reason, now by fucking aliens. Like, no, this is gonna be terrible. Eyes shut as much as he can for most of the procedure. But Betty, being a white lady, she ain't gonna go down that easy. She goes in there and she's fucking terrified, but she musters up the courage. I demand to speak to the manager of space take me to your leader, and I need directions. Total typical woman thing. But surprisingly, they comply. You know, they're very nice about it. They're like, we're not here to scare you. You know, like, here's a leader, and what do you want to ask him? And the alien space manager's probably like, fuck. Like, all right, fine. Comes over to Cannibal Dirt Monkey from Planet Dirt and says, how may I help you? And Betty says, where are you from? And here's my favorite piece of evidence, or like anecdotal evidence from the entire story, is how the alien replies. In a fake story, someone says, where the hell are you aliens from? And the alien goes, we are from Beeblebrock 7, and we are here to fuck your dolphins and steal your cupcake. This is under hypnosis, by the way, something that she clearly has no idea of while she's conscious, that's being corroborated by a similar person that was with her at the time. And the emotional reaction to what was going on was so traumatic that the hypnotist would force them to, like, you know, balk like a chicken. No, you're gonna forget this before you wake up so you're not a crying ball of shit in my office. Where are you from? And the alien leader just kind of goes, huh. And then dude's over on his computer, pulls up a 3-dimensional star map. And he looks at this star map and he says, can you show me which one of these stars on this map you're from? And Betty says, no. And the alien space manager says, well, you know, this is what the stars look like from our home planet. But they're going to look different where you're from. So if you don't recognize any of our constellations, then it's not going to make sense. And that right there is a pretty profound thing for someone to actually try to make up. I mean, it can be done, but that doesn't scream hoax at me. That's a pretty good point. Like, if you were gonna make up an alien story, you'd want to, you know, have a little bit more of the scoop than everybody else. But then again, no one had ever publicly come out with being abducted by aliens up until this point. It was a completely novel concept. They didn't know about cows getting butchered or, you know, alien colonoscopies. So then she's like, okay, well, you know, I tried, but, you know, my husband's over there with his eyes shut like a fucking little kid, so do some medical experimentations on us. Just don't hurt us. And the aliens were like, look, we can psychologically turn your pain off with, I guess, some kind of app they had or some shit. And they poked and prodded around a little bit and, you know, gave him a checkup, you know. You're going to forget everything, so don't even worry about it. You know, like, we're just checking you out. So the hypnotherapist is like individually in different rooms hypnotherapizing these two people and telling them to forget what's going on at different times, and their stories are matching up. And he finds this incredibly odd because that's not shit that happens on accident. That's like a shit that like happens on purpose. But it's the late 1960s. A psychiatrist said was, well, you know, you're stressed out because you're, you know, like, you're interracial. You know, you're in an interracial marriage and everybody's racist, and so you just both dream this shit up and then pay for lots of hypnotherapy. But then why, like, wait 2 years and then, like, not be able to recant any of that stuff while you're saying, I mean, they had interrogation tactics back then, you know, like, it just, they didn't really make any money off it, and pretty much everyone thought they were nuts. So the hypnotist does something a smart person would do. It says, I want you to draw the best recollection of that star map you can while she's under hypnosis, by the way, and also forced to forget about it while she's conscious when she wakes up. And he doesn't make her do it once. He makes her do it 6 times without her ability to remember that she did it. And these drawings that she made pretty much lined up identically every single time. And she had no idea what was going on when she woke. But it's 1969. And we didn't have cool telescopes or whatever. Did I say 1969? It's 1960 something. Who gives a shit? But some people took that map and they fed it into a supercomputer and redid some calculations from different perspectives of our current understanding of three-dimensional star maps. And in the late 80s, supercomputer gets a hit and it 0 points where these aliens are from. And that place where they're from is Zeta 2 Reticuli, which you can't even see from the northern hemisphere. It's like almost, it's close to like the South Star instead of the North Star. Being that we don't have a lot of directly search underneath the planet telescopes that exist, we haven't really done a lot of snooping around on that binary star system. But one of the stars on this map, as interpreted by supercomputer, it's 82 Eradni. You know, that star system with that rocky planet in the habitable zone only 20 light years away from us? I'm not saying any of it's real or any of it's fake, but it's a cool story. And there you go. There's a thing that I think about that nobody ever thinks about, you know. But what am I gonna do? Talk about the Kardashians? No. I'm gonna keep on keeping on by looking through all the filters and living up to my inner Agent Mulder. Brazil is completely declassifying all of its stuff at the moment, and there's congressional hearings and this, that, and the other thing. Like, it's kind of a big fucking deal to foil hat people like me. So I'm not saying that the aliens built the pyramids. I'm not saying that the aliens are even aliens. But I'm looking at this and there's just, man, it's just an interesting thought. Take that little factoid and just roll it around in your brain. It's a really good distraction with all the other bullshit going on that you can't control. Until then, I'm Don Burgundy. You stay assy, Clan Bodego.